That's it. But the problem is these people, like, let me give you an example. And I hope everybody's listening to this. During the Kylie Rodney case, and she said that there's grace in minding your own business, and she wanted everybody to stop talking about Kylie's case. I simply said, while I respect her opinion and I respect her, same time, if we stop talking about every single case where the families have asked us to, we wouldn't be talking about true crime at all anymore. So I just posed the question, what makes Kylie's case any different than any of the other cases in the past where families have asked us to stop talking about them and people didn't? Queen Bee, I'll never forget this. She started going after me and Zav Girl after that and said that, we were hurting Kylie's mom and blah, blah, blah. Well, the problem is she claims that she stopped talking about the case when Kylie's mom asked her or asked everybody. That's not true. She did stop talking about the actual case, right? Continued making the hashtags. And she continued using the thumbnails with Kylie's face all over them. Every night she would use the thumbnails, the Kylie Rodney hashtags over and over and over. But instead of talking about the facts of the case, she talked about me and Zav Girl and what we were saying about the case. But she still used Kylie's name and her image. So you tell me how that's not one of the most hypocritical fucking things you ever heard in your life. And she's actually worse than we ever were.
I'm sorry, Dee. What am I going to get out of some girl with a tie-dye shirt who barely has any insight whatsoever in her content as it is, showing me autopsy photos of an 11-year-old boy who was stabbed so many times that I don't even remember the number, but he was stabbed incredibly so many times. He was shot. He was bludgeoned. What are you going to get out of seeing those photos explained to you by some girl who has no insight in her content as it is, with no scientific background, with no background in being a coroner or anything of that nature? She's not a doctor. She has no way of giving any educational explanation as to what you're looking at whatsoever. There's nothing but gruesome to it. I can't think of any other word than gruesome. Yeah, disclaimer, if I seem heated, it's only because I have been following this case since it happened 3 years ago. I'm not hung up on the legalities of it. I'm hung up on the question of whether or not it's decent. Just because it's legal for you to do something, it doesn't mean that you should. This like I said, if the argument is it's for educational purposes, well, where's the person qualified to educate you on what you're seeing? Mm-hmm. Where's that?
No, you can whitewash anything and make it sound like it's okay. Which
is exactly what she's doing. I agree with you.
Right, which is why because there's a whole market out there of people who are interested in morbid things. Right. Even look at Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum in Las Vegas. That contains things from murder sites and people collect stuff that Ed Gein owned or.
Oh, it's so sick, yeah.
And to me, this falls into that category. I can call it science or educational. It's morbid curiosity is what it is. And at the worst case, it runs into those people who watch those snuff films.
Yeah, let's just call it what it is. It's exactly what it is. It's morbid curiosity. It's not for educational purposes, because if you were looking to be educated, you would have a standard for who's educating you on this issue.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing is, what kind of education am I getting out of this?
Right.
Because
all the education you're going to need is just go back and watch the trial and listen to the testimony of the expert that was showing the reason why they were showing the autopsy photo in the trial.
Exactly.
Listen to that. You already have it. It's
that's
there.
education. I don't need to see what level of decomposition or what a wound looks like.
No.
That doesn't educate me into any portion of my life, unless I'm going to be a coroner. But I just see it as being morbidly curious. And I don't want to say that like Zav Girl is just, this sicko or something. Not like that. I mean, some people are just curious to the point of minutia.
Oh, periwinkle violet. I agree.
She said that about herself, even. She said that she's the one that likes to see every little thing. I mean, that's her, though. We can't like judge somebody and make them, and if it's a few people that she's sharing it with, it's not like she's making it a public thing and trying to educate people about this. I think it's for people that really want to see it. I don't know. I know it's morbid a little, of course. But.
And see, I agree with Fairy Dust here. Completely agree with you. He's a minor. I don't think that nude photos of him should be nude autopsy photos. I get that it's a clinical thing at that point, even though I don't feel like it is, like emotionally I don't, but that's probably why they included him. I don't agree. I don't think that minors autopsy photos should be given to the public via FOIA request. I just don't.
That can actually go into the CSAM aspect of this, because if there are genitalia in these pictures, that could be bait or interesting.
So when I was skimming through her live this morning, the end portion there, and I can pull it up and we can listen to it. Someone in the chat said they were blurred out. I don't know if anyone in here was in her page and saw them. Were they blurred? I don't know. Someone's got some echo.
I don't think they were blurred. I think people did blur them when they did the trial live. They were blurred in certain cases. Certain creators blurred them.
I don't even think it matters, because you have case smalls going, she would never sell those autopsy photos. Well, technically she's selling them. And Tracy Ann, I agree with you to a certain degree, but I don't completely agree with you. If you're putting it behind a paywall, whether somebody is already a Patreon member or not, then you're still technically selling those photos. Even if those people are already Patreon members, they're paying on a monthly basis, and they're paying for exclusive content that you wouldn't share to people who you're not charging money to. So at the end of the day, she's still charging money for those photos. Doesn't matter. The circumstances of it, she's selling those money. She's making money off of those photos. She's exploiting this child.
She said it cost her a lot of money to get the FOIA request. It cost quite a bit of money. And I actually, because I didn't believe that she did this, I was so upset because of the Kylie Rodney stuff. I went in and checked for myself, and they are actual photos, and she knows that she cannot post them on Facebook or YouTube. She knows she cannot put them on YouTube. She knows that. So they are actually behind a Patreon in a Dropbox. They're not even anywhere on YouTube. You have to go into her Patreon, pay to get in there. Once you get in there, you go into the Dropbox, and then it's a full video with everything showing. There is nothing is blurred out. And she zooms in on it, shows very very graphic stuff. It's a whole video. She put it in the video, and she talks through the video. She zooms in on body parts, and it just had me fucking disgusted.
She zooms in on his body parts?
Yeah, certain body parts, like certain wounds. She zooms in, like when it just makes me sick. Okay, so he was found in a suitcase, and when they originally opened the suitcase, the pillow and his body came out. Like when he came out of this, I don't want to be graphic with you guys, and I'm sorry, trigger warning. Do you even want me to talk about it?
You're fine. This is true crime. We discuss these things, and right now we're talking about this.
She did this. I was like, I didn't even think it was. I thought, okay, you know what? Maybe somebody's taken this too far. And, they're just looking at like different pictures of like his blankets and pillows and things like that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think it was actual body. It's very, very graphic, very graphic. Nothing is hidden. Nothing is blurred out.
The crime scene itself is graphic.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. We walking through
Just knowing that that's the blood of an 11-year-old is enough to trigger you.
Yeah.
I had trouble even.
On the pillow, guys, I think the nastiest part that got me look, I'm stuttering because it's got me fucked up. I think the worst part of it was when she zoomed in on the pillow and she's like, "What are these strings? What are these strings?" And they were fucking maggots.
No. What?
And oh god, it's fucking disturbing, you guys. As she zooms in on the pillow and she's like, "What are these? What are these strings? I wonder what these are." And she zooms in on it, and it's fucking maggots.
Okay, this is different. Like I'm envisioning
No,
as empathetic,
no,
clinical,
it's
tougher,
very no.
going
No.
through the photos.
That girl doesn't have empathy. That girl sits up there and plays dumb. That's what she does. She does the most nefarious crap that a YouTube creator can do. She did it with the Kylie Rodney thing, and then she was just like, I don't know. And she sits there with this dumb look on her face, like, I mean, what do you guys think? I don't know. And then she puts it all on her subs.
I don't know why people don't listen to me, man. Like, I tried to tell y'all about Zav Girl, like, a while back. I tried to tell y'all about Zav Girl. And, oh, she's okay. You know, why are you always attacking people? Blah, blah, blah. Dude, this girl has no regard or respect for victims or their loved ones. It's in her track record. Like, and I didn't even know it. But apparently she goes all the way back to the Watts case. And I didn't even know that because I just stay the hell away from it. Like once that was it. You know what I mean? Once Chris Watts pled guilty, I was like, okay, next case. You know? How many years ago was that? Going on 5 years now? We're going on 5 years. People are still talking about that case. Now, I haven't heard her talk about it, but I discovered her during all the Kylie Rodney madness. And like she starts off doing things that I'm just kind of like, what? And then ends up like kissing Adventures with Purpose's ass. And then from there on just continues to spin not only the narrative that Adventures with Purpose did irresponsibly, and blaming Jagger for what happened to Kylie Rodney, which turned out to be an accident, which there's video proof of. And then not only does she do that, but she also just starts throwing mud everywhere. Like she goes live and then she's sitting there going through the videos of this party full of minors. Definitely, I'm sure there are minors. And she's sitting there pointing them out going, I want that person's name. Who's that person? Look at how they're acting. Blah, blah, blah. Totally irresponsible. What if that's your kid just chilling at a party and they just lost their friend at the party? Brianna, thank you so much. Brianna 25. Love to see you and Queen on panel together, fighting on the same side. It's like the Olympians uniting to overthrow the chaos of the Titans. I don't know about all that. I mean, Deets opened up her panel. I jumped on because I had a lot to say about it. It was an open panel. I mean, the thing is it's not supposed to be shocking that creators who may or may not even get along see something that is as filthy as what Zav Girl did as exactly what it is. It shouldn't be shocking. And it's funny because it's kind of surprising in this community for some reason, because it's just so common for YouTube creators to be complete and utter unempathetic, unscrupulous shitbags. It happens constantly, you know? So, I mean, it was funny to listen to Zav Girl and she's going, we're adults. Like, no, that's not, no. An adult would have the respect for a parent who lost their child. An adult would have the respect for that child's memory. An adult would do everything that they can to try to preserve the memory of this child being happy and being kind and playful. I mean, I made that little collage of pictures of Ganon, and I chose the most happiest ones to pick from. Landon gave me access to her pictures. She friended me on Facebook and gave me access to her pictures after I told her I was trying to do something nice like that. Nothing major, just something to put together before the trial to apply to make a FOIA request for Gannon's autopsy photos. And she decided to share them behind a paywall of her Patreon. And she did this knowing full well, because she was getting criticism for it. She tried to basically gaslight and she try to make us seem like we're the sick ones because we see an autopsy photo as sick. I don't see an autopsy photo as being sick. I see the things that happen to the child to make the autopsy photo necessary. I find that to be sick. But mostly I find the need to look at these photos without any plan whatsoever to educate yourself on the benefits of seeing those photographs, because the only way that you would benefit from seeing these photographs, in my opinion, is either A, if you are seeking some sort of if you have actually a fascination and a certain level of understanding of decomposure, and you have this interest in that sort of thing, and you have an interest in possibly being a coroner, I can understand that. Or the other reason would be because you're a sick, twisted fuck and you just get off on seeing gruesome ass pictures because you can't differentiate the gore in a horror movie for real life gore. I was angry about this case. I was angry about this case from the moment that it took place, the moment that I heard about it. And from the moment that it was confirmed that Letitia had allegedly killed Gannon, I wanted justice.
How she got around it was she didn't put it on Patreon. I forgot to even say that, honey. She didn't put it on Patreon. She put a fucking link to her Dropbox on her Patreon and said, you know, you got to pay $3 to unlock this link. Once you pay the $3 or whatever, you unlock the link, and it goes
even worse.
The profile.
She knew she was doing wrong. That's why.
Fuck right, she did. Fuck right, she did. And when we talked about it last night, Abe brought it to our attention. You know what I mean? Like we seen him talking about it, and then went and checked because I wanted to see for myself if that's really what she was doing because of the Kylie Rodney stuff. And I'm like, well, maybe somebody's just taking it wrong and they think it's the pictures. You know, like the autopsy, just like the photos of his blankets and pillows and clothing, and you know things like that. I was not prepared for what I walked into. I was not prepared for that, and I didn't think that girl would even go that low. And I understand being, you know, the morbid curiosity. I get it, but this is an 11-year-old child.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know somebody? I don't know if it's been doctored up, but somebody's already making really messed up comments about the little boy's anatomy.
Yeah, and
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, and it's not blurred out or anything. It's
Correct.
Yeah, no, it's not blurred. There's one picture where it's blurred and several others where it's not.
Yeah, so what's the fucking point? And even if it was, even if all of them were blurred, that isn't even the point. It's like, okay, listen, like we could call this like for educational purposes. We are fucking detectives,
and we're not fucking scientists.
This is about morbid curiosity
and money. It's awful.
Yeah,
happy.
The two M's: morbid curiosity and money. That's all it is. Let's not put lipstick on a fucking pig. Let's call it.
And then when I said to her, Zav, you got to think about the family and have some empathy. She's like, that's such a weak argument.
Oh, it is, like, really?
Is she a mom?
That's when I had to doubt.
She doesn't have to be a mom science girl. That's fucking sick.
Yeah, she's a mom.
She's a mother and still is all about that. Okay, all right.
She said it's our problem. Like she was gaslighting us like a motherfucker when we went over to her chat.
You don't see these pictures on news websites. She can't use the.
Well, let's just see what the mother says then.
Come on.
Well,
Yeah,
science girl, he's got a sister. His sister. What if his sister comes across these someday? And I mean, there's already people who are putting the shit on fucking Reddit. There's already people who are putting it on websites, 4chan and all that. Fuck that.
And she knew better. She knew.
Oh yeah, she fucking knew exactly what she was fucking doing.
Yeah.
And then she zooms in on it and she's like, "Oh, what is that? That can't be a maggot. That's too long to be a maggot. I wonder what it is."
Idiot.
Grass? Is it a grass? I wonder if it's a piece of grass. It could be a piece of grass.
And miss me with that nice girl. Miss me with that innocent girl act, dude, with your fucking surprised eyebrows and shit. Get the fuck out of here. You know what the fuck you're doing.
Zab is not a mom.
That doesn't even matter, though. This is about being a good human.
But it makes it even worse that she's a mother. I'm just saying.
I get what you're saying. Like, I'm a mom, and I get what you're saying. But it's just like,
no.
I try to, like, not make that distinction often.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Is open to all citizens of the United States. You have the ability to pull records in this country under the Freedom of Information Act. With that being said, I believe that Zab Girl did the appropriate thing by putting it behind a wall and not making it public for anybody and everybody to preview it. That would have been the appropriate procedure for discussing this. Does she have a right to discuss it? Absolutely. Is it public record? It absolutely is. Now, I realize that a lot of people, this is emotional for them. You know, it's emotional to think that somebody is reviewing a case. We have that right to review those cases. And we have the right, if our audience so chooses to want to learn about those cases and see what we have about those cases, they have the right to learn about those cases. They have a right. Every single one of you have a right to learn about those. And many of our audience don't know how to pull public records. They don't know how to get these files. They don't know how to review these cases. They rely on people like me, people like the docket, people like Truth and Transparency. Now, granted, you know, they may have blurred certain images, but that's up to their discretion. And as offensive as that may be to some people, that is how it is. It is not. It is up to whomever gets those documents how they would like to present them. They are public record. What Zab Girl did was not illegal. It did not violate any policies. She did it the right way. She blocked it from the general public, and those who would like to see it could see it. Now, people are talking about a paid wall. How else are you supposed to keep it from the general public? What's Patreon? Okay, so Patreon is another platform that is a paid platform. We're actually going to be moving over to Patreon. I've had the account set up for well over a year. I've just never done anything with it and never promoted it. And I can tell you that, you know, I understand that many people are offended, okay? And I understand the offensiveness that seeing a young child's autopsy report, but it's part of the public record. And this is what I was talking about related to Kylie Rodney when everybody was saying, oh, well, the parents don't need to release the autopsy. And I told you, as soon as this goes to trial, that autopsy is going to be part of the public record, and that autopsy will be discoverable by the public. It is a public trial. It's a public record, whether we like it or not. This is the laws. Our laws are not based on emotion. Okay, I know that a lot of us have, you know, emotional and moral and other things that keep us from doing certain things, but it doesn't mean that you can't. It doesn't mean that it's unlawful. And again, the law has no emotion. Okay, it's not emotion. It's not emotional. We're emotional. The law is not, and the law is black and white. So for those that are wanting to go out and beat up Zav Girl, just take a step back, because there's going to be a time when those public records, because maybe somebody is arrested wrongfully, convicted wrongfully, those public records are the only thing that help those people get out of those troubles. It's those public records. It's people like activists and people that like that nonprofit that goes around, the Innocence Project. They would never be able to help any of their clients without public record laws. That means showing unobstructed autopsy views. And again, I understand that many people are emotional, that this was in bad taste for a lot of people, but I just want to let you know, in my opinion, she did it the right way. She had a right to share it. She did have a right to share it. She has a lawful right to share it. And again, it may be offensive. I wouldn't watch it personally. Had I had the autopsy, I may have gone over the information. I don't know if I would have showed all the photos, because I believe, it is a responsibility. But if I was behind a private wall with the people that want to see it, would I have shown it? It's possible I could have. I don't know. I'm not presented or put in that position. I have not been put in that position for me to determine one way or another or how I would have handled that situation. But to think that she needs to have her channel terminated for doing a lawful act is ridiculous. I think people need to quit being so emotional, but I'm not an emotional person.
And they actually released the photos to her. She had to pay. They released the photos and she got them. And you can just imagine, based on the description of the way that little boy was killed, what those photos look like. Zav Girl then proceeded to post them on her Patreon account, which is an account attached to her YouTube page. And she charged her followers money to see the autopsy photos. For $3, you could see little Gannon's body. She was making money off of that little boy's autopsy photos of a severely beaten to death little boy. Really, they just got no place on the internet. It was hard enough for the jury to have to look at them. But for this YouTuber to go to all that trouble to request them, to pay the money, to get them from the government, and not only post them, but then to charge people to see them. I mean, I just find it sick. My question, has Zav Girl ever even been in a courtroom or interviewed a grieving family? That's my issue with some of these YouTubers that cause problems. They hide behind their computers. They don't even use their real names. Like in this case, we don't even know who Zav Girl really is. And if you're so proud of your page, I don't know why people don't just use their real name. And this isn't some video game or TV show you're playing on your computer. This is a real family's life. This morning, Zav Girl, she got a lot of heat for this. She posted a statement on her YouTube page about the controversy. It was deleted. It's back up now. I screen grabbed it. This is part of it. She wrote, "The reality of the situation is that different people feel differently about this. Some people are genuinely think making a video including the autopsy photos is bad, and I respect their opinion and feelings. Other people like myself think of autopsy photos and the coroner discussing, explaining, interesting, and informative are all able to view it in a more scientific, detached way." Well, Zav Girl, there is nothing detached about posting the autopsy photos of an 11-year-old little boy, and then, on top of it, which I really think pushes it over the line, charging money for people to see them. It is sick, it's deranged, and you should just own up to it. Whoever you are, wherever you live, maybe get out from behind your computer screen, go to the local courthouse, and actually sit through a murder trial and see what it's like for the families in real life. Not on YouTube, not sitting behind your computer and thinking about clicks, but actually go to the courthouse and see what these families actually have to deal with, and then think about how it might feel for them after having to see those photos in the courtroom, to then have them plastered all over the internet, and then be trying to charge people money to view them so you can get rich off of it. It's just awful. I want to bring in District Attorney Michael Allen, who served as the lead prosecutor on little Gannon's case. Thank you for being with us, Michael. You were the lead prosecutor. You had to go through that whole trial. I can't even imagine, this just got me so mad thinking about Gannon's family. I know they're aware of this. I mean, how are they processing all of this?
Well, thanks for having me on to talk about this. First off, we reached out to the family members and had discussions with them about this, just letting them know that, one, it's happening and sort of what they can do potentially to combat this. But honestly, there's nothing they can do to get these photos down once they're on the internet. It's just completely disrespectful to the family members that have had to live through this horror. But even more so, Gannon deserves so much more in life from his stepmother, and he certainly deserves dignity and respect in death. And there's nothing about what this YouTuber is doing, and I think there's another one out there as well, that they're doing that provides any dignity or respect to Gannon. And the statement that they put out about this incident, sort of justifying it, just rings hollow. Other ways to do this, scientifically, they could have used body diagrams that the autopsy also included, instead of putting the actual pictures of Gannon's just completely broken body that reflects the depravity and horror that he had to live through and die at the hands of his stepmother, that he had to suffer. It's outright disgusting. And it just speaks to the lowest of human forms, in my opinion.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.
It is re-traumatizing. It's hard to, we just finished the trial just over 2 months ago, Brian, and now we're having to kind of relive some of this stuff and not being able to put it behind us.
Yeah, and I think for me, what really pushed it over the edge was the charging the money. Obviously posting it alone would be disgusting, but then charging money to see those photos, it's really, really just awful.
the word I use to describe it is evil, Brian. In my opinion, it's just evil. Like the world got enough information from the trial to have every discussion they want to have. Why do we need to go have a freedom of information request and pay for this kind of information and then dishonor my son by putting these photos out there like that? I mean, the world got to see it. I don't know how well you followed it, but the only day I chose not to come to the trial was the day that they showed the autopsy photos. Now I feel like I can't even go on YouTube without the possibility of accidentally coming across these photos.
Yeah, and I when we talked to the prosecutor last night, I mean, they made a special effort to make sure that those photos were not released on the live stream. In other trials that I've covered, they always do that. I mean, they just want the jurors to see them because that's part of obviously the legal process, but it's not the kind of thing that the public needs to see at all. Do you think you may take legal action? Is there anything that you can do to get these off the internet to sort of like protect your son?
We've talked through some of those options. The hard part, Brian, is I am just emotionally and psychologically and financially maxed out from the last 30+ years of this process. To take legal action, I just don't know if I have that in me. But what I'm trying to do with you tonight, and I appreciate you having us on, is to help shape the narrative. And I don't really think I have to do much. Based on the messages you've received and the feedback I've seen from other responses, I don't think it's going to take much from us to have these people, repointed in the right direction.
Yeah, I think people just lose sight of the fact that these are real families dealing with this. I mean, there's a true crime community, and 99% of them have good intentions and are really focused on the victims. I'm sure you felt that through all of this, but there's just those bad apples out there that are trying to make money. The other thing I keep thinking about is the fact that she and others were even able to get the photos. It seems like there should be some kind of law. Or it shouldn't be that easy to just write a check and put in a request and be able to get those photos sent to you.
Yeah, once again, I think that's a question for a legal representative. I do believe in the freedom of information to a certain extent, but I think the problem from my perspective is you can't always control what someone with evil intentions will do, and that's what we have in this case here. So I don't know. I'm not a legal guy. I'd have to look at the ins and outs of the FOIA Act and all that. But, there's a lot of good that comes out of release of information. It's just in this instance, and having to bear this burden myself, it's hard to say this, but in this instance, someone has taken that and turned it into evil.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Well, Al, thank you for coming on. Again, I'm so sorry that you had to go through this. I totally understand you being emotionally exhausted, and this now just adding on to that. I hope that people will continue to be outraged by this, and they can sort of police themselves in a way on YouTube, because it's just, it's just awful, especially when you think about the family members like you, Al. So thank you for coming on tonight. I hope people who posted the photos are watching it and hear it straight from you how it makes you feel.
Yeah, I hope so too, Brian. And in closing, I do want to leave you with, I think we're really getting focused on less than 1% of the people, because the majority of people I've come in contact with throughout this past 3+ years have absolutely sustained me and helped me to fight through this process for my son. So I do want to give credit where credit is due on that. And I think those people will continue to shape the narrative that this is unacceptable behavior by a very small portion of people that seek to benefit from my son's those horrible pictures of my son. So thank you again, Brian.
Yeah, thank you. I totally agree with you. I'm glad you said that. We'll be in touch. Hopefully we can stay on the story, and maybe we can find some lawmakers or someone who want to spearhead a project to just make it a little more difficult. Obviously, like you said, it's good to be able to file a FOIA and get information, but certain things I think are just too much. It should be a little more difficult. So thank you again, Al. We'll be in touch.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.
Thing that bothers me the most is as a society, we should be protecting children. Children are vulnerable. Children are innocent. That's what Gannon stands for. That is why we're all heartbroken over what happened to Gannon. And so to re-victimize this child who represents that innocence that was taken away from him, this little boy that doesn't have a voice, that never had a voice, we are responsible to now be that voice for him, and so I think that's the thing that traumatizes me the most about this, is just that all of us, all of the creators, and I believe that there are more creators that shared these pictures. We should be thinking about protecting children in life and in death. We protect children. We protect their vulnerability. We protect their bodies. We protect who they are. And it's up to us to do that.
Yeah, and I think about the trials that we've covered, even Valo recently. You sit in the courtroom, we sat together, and you see what these families go through, and you see the way they have to leave the courtroom when certain photos are showed. And I just don't think some of these YouTubers realize that these are like real people. Peter, I'm curious, you're a lawyer. I think a lot of people are asking, like, how was she able to get these photos? Like, why should you be able to write a check to the government? I think she paid $400 and received these photos in the mail.
So Florida has one of the most liberal Freedom of Information Act laws with the Sunshine Law, because Florida puts a big emphasis on the public having access to public documents. And I am all for that. But there is literally a law in place with an exception for autopsy photos, especially of minors that have died as a result of domestic violence. And the only way that those can be released is if it is to the deceased parents or close family members. So these autopsy photos should have never been included in any Freedom of Information Act request. And frankly, there is a third-degree felony in the statute for the custodian of records if they willfully and knowingly released these documents. Now, my guess is what happened is she requested the entire file and they sent the entire file and just didn't do their job to look through and pull these photos out.
Okay, well let's talk about that. Let's talk about that line, right? You're coming in here acting like, what did they say on Brian Enton? What did they say on Brian Enton? They said exactly the way I said it, except they said it differently, right? It's lawful. There's nothing that they can do. It's up for public opinion. Watch it or don't watch it. Go and attack her, don't attack her. She didn't lose her channel. So everything that I expressed here yesterday is exactly what was just expressed on the Brian Enton show, except it was packed with a lot of emotion, which I don't do. I'm a very blunt person, so I just tell it like it is. So what came out in that segment that wasn't that we didn't discuss here on the show? It's lawful. It was acquired through public record. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. Some people are totally offended by it. We acknowledge that. There are people out there that would like to preview it. Except people say things in a way that makes them likable, right? So Brian goes out there, and I feel like everybody was well represented in this, right? So Brian went out there on the emotional, talking about what people felt, right? And then he brought the prosecutor on, right? And what did the prosecutor say? There's not really anything we can do. It's public record. It was done lawfully. I mean, I understand the emotional part about it. I'm just, when it comes to this stuff, I look at stuff like this. I understand it's shocking to audience members, but you have to understand, for me as a creator, I look at this stuff all day long. So and I'm sure Brian Enton has had to look at some of this stuff. But again, I feel like I understand the emotional part of it. I do get it. I get why people are outraged. I think it was kind of skewed a little bit in the reporting, because they didn't explain that this is the only way. They act like it's about money coming from News Nation and a person that probably makes 5 times more than Zav Girl. But either way, I understand the importance of it. But I think what they missed in that reporting is that if there is a group of people like myself that would like to discuss it or preview it, there's real no good way to do. There's really not a whole lot, especially if you're trying to get a whole bunch of people. Now, granted, I understand it's an 11-year-old child, and trust me, it's not something. Again, I haven't been put in that situation. I would think that my better judgment probably wouldn't have, posted the images that she posted, and even the state attorney, put in options that maybe would have been more appropriate, like using the diagrams and things of that nature. So I get all. Like I said, I don't have a dog in the fight with this argument. Mine was, I know it was going to be an unpopular statement, but I stick to the law aspect of it, and the law is not emotional, and everything that she did was legal. Now, it's up for the audience, it's up for the public. If they want to show outrage, to show that, and that's their right. So I think we discussed that fairly well on this show. And again, I never stuck up for Zav. I just spoke on what people weren't going to tell you. And at the end of the day, she did nothing. She did, in many eyes, maybe morally wrong, like I had stated, but she did nothing lawfully wrong. And I think that was also stated in that segment that Brian Enton did. But I'm glad, I'm proud of Brian. Brian goes and he has a great connection with his audience. He's a little more emotional in stuff in some of these, and this really moved him. Like, he was very upset that she did this, and his and everybody else's frustration or upset or anger over that is legit and viable. I never discredited those things, but my stance will be the same. Again, it's your responsibility what you consume as an audience. So beat me up, run away. I really, it's again, I have no dog in the fight. I speak from a different perspective than Brian did. I feel like both sides. I think he well represented the people that are just, disgusted and just can't believe it. And, there's a medical side and a science side and a, information side that is a little different than that emotional side. And I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for that. I feel bad for what this family is going through. There's nothing, I didn't do it. You can go here all day long and try to beat me up. I didn't do it. So, I don't know how you want me to address it, but you're trying to turn something around like I did something. I didn't. I commented on it and talked to my audience about the legality of it. And that was confirmed by Brian Enton's story. Enough said. So I understand there are people that are just absolutely disgusted with that. I get it. But again, people have the right to consume what they choose to consume. There's a lot of paid stuff that people pay for on the internet that absolutely is total immoral to me. Totally immoral to me. Disgusting to me, right? So you know, I am all about that hypocrisy thing too. Just saying. So it is what it is. I mean, she has to pay for it publicly. If I did something like that, I would have to pay for it publicly. That's what and like I said, that is the job of the audience. Again, being very upfront and truthful about the situation. Still don't have a dog in the fight, just to let the haters know.
Just when you thought you'd finally seen all of the degeneracy disgusting YouTubers could ever cook up in their cursed kitchen, you get jump scared by a new outrageous, heinous act committed by a YouTuber. In the words of Qui-Gon Jinn, there's always a bigger fish, and in this case, that fish is evil. There is a new evil action that a YouTuber just proudly engaged in that I just learned about today. This comes from the true crime community. This comes from a YouTuber named Zavgirl, who charged people on Patreon for access to autopsy photos of a murdered 11-year-old boy. That is some morally demented shit right there that would have a demon cringing. Now, Zavgirl is refuting some of these claims and even released her own apology video explaining her side of the situation. Just a quick side note, apology videos have become 2023's Harlem Shake. This is a massive flood of apology videos that we've gotten in just like the last month. If YouTuber apologies were a stock option and you invested back in January of this year, you'd be a millionaire by now. It is crazy just how often this is happening. Now, her apology video might not feature a ukulele, but it's still just as shitty. But before really diving into that, I want to give a general overview of the situation. Zavgirl is a true crime YouTuber, and she had just recently dove into the case of an 11-year-old boy named Gannon who was brutally murdered by his stepmother, Letitia Stouch. And it is just unbelievably disturbing. The mother is on trial now, which I imagine is why Zavgirl wanted to start talking about it since it's now unfolding in court. I don't really want to get into the specifics of the case. Basically, the stepmother tortured the son, stabbed him a ton of times, shot him in the head, and then stuffed his corpse into a suitcase and started to pretend like he was missing. So she told the authorities all kinds of different stories, like he didn't come home after going to a friend's house. Then she even came up with some kind of fucking wild narrative about how someone that was fixing her carpet ended up raping her and then abducting the child. So she got caught lying a ton of times. Eventually, investigators found blood on her shoes and in her car, as well as in Gannon's room, and then her DNA on a gun that was linked to Gannon's death. So they caught her and realized that she was responsible for Gannon's murder. So Zavgirl followed the Letitia Stouch case and said that she had recently made an official records request. which is something I didn't even know you could do as just like an average Joe Schmo. I had no fucking clue that any goofball goober could just ask and get sensitive files like she received. I guess I'm just very naive to what you're able to ask for, but I feel like those kind of things should only be made accessible to the victim's family as well as like official sources, not just YouTubers. But that, I mean, that's just me, I guess, speaking as a goddamn Neanderthal who I guess doesn't understand how things work here. That was surprising. But she said that she had made an official records request and then received all of these documents, which she posted on her Patreon. I'll go ahead and play this clip from her apology video where she tries to explain that this is a little misleading. She wasn't just charging for autopsy photos, she was actually charging for everything, which included autopsy photos.
I have followed the Letitia Stout case closely, and it was actually during the trial that I made the official records request. And it was in El Paso County, Colorado. I requested all the video, audio, and written records. I made no request for autopsy photos. I wanted all the trial records, but my main interests were interviews with Letitia. The autopsy photos just happened to be in the files.
Not exactly the slam dunk you think it is here. You still did charge for all of this sensitive information, which does include the autopsy photographs, as you mentioned. I'll be extremely charitable here. I'll really throw you a bone and assume you're telling the truth that you didn't specifically seek out autopsy photos. You still got them, and you still published them, and you still charged for them on your Patreon. They were a component of what you were charging your audience for. You legitimately set up basically a booth in your Patreon where you could go in and look at photos of a dead child and learn everything that happened to him with the murder. How do you not recognize how incredibly fucked up that is? That is bafflingly evil. I understand desensitization is a real thing, right? Doctors get desensitized to gore and blood. Gamers get desensitized to being insulted in video games over Xbox Live. I get it. But I just don't understand how someone could ever reach the point where they're desensitized to the brutal murder of a child, and so desensitized, in fact, that you're going to charge people access to it. Other depraved fucking people that for some reason want to pay money to see photos of a dead child. So again, even if your primary goal wasn't to get autopsy photographs, you did receive them, you did publish them, and you charged an admission fee for people to look at them. You were making money off of showing people someone's dead child. How can you not recognize the complete absence of humanity and complete lack of empathy? She was also just giddy with excitement that she got her hands on all of this in the first place. Here's a community post that she hasn't deleted. And I think she has deleted other ones, but I'll get to that in a moment. But she said, "Hey, you all, so I got a bunch of Letitia Stouch case files I'm going to be releasing. So there's some new videos and info, and also some videos they played in court, but the quality wasn't the best. So I have the originals where it's not a recording of a crooked TV screen. LOL. So if you're interested, keep your eyes out for my videos. I'm going to get them out as fast as I can. There's some that might take me longer because, for instance, all the text messages, I like to read them for you, so those will take me some time, but I'm going to try to get them out as soon as I can." Just a quick side note, she sucks fuck at writing. I guess she just doesn't believe in grammar. There wasn't a single comma to be had in this entire statement. It made it very difficult to read. It was just one long, random, vomited, evil thought that she put on the community tab here with random capitalization of random words. I guess, you know, her pinky gets really excited and just slaps the shift key down mid-sentence sometimes to capitalize a random fucking word. But anyway, you can see the excitement here in this post. She is elated, celebrating like it's Christmas now that she has these records, because she's going to get a lot of content out of the records for her Patreon and for her YouTube audience as well. She was fucking roaring to go. And then she did. And she faced backlash even from her own community. So in the article I read about this situation, they referenced some of her community posts that I can no longer find. I don't know if they were deleted. So I just wanted to put that out there that these are no longer on her channel. But according to this article, she addressed the criticism in a lengthy statement saying, "The reality of the situation is that different people feel differently about this. Some people genuinely think making a video including the autopsy photos is bad, and I respect their opinion and feelings. Other people, like myself, think of autopsy photos and the coroner discussing explaining them as interesting and informative, and are able to view it all in a more scientific, detached way. It's just one of those things where it depends on the person." Hey, Zav girl, let me hit you with some cold water real quick. If you're the kind of person that looks at photos of a dead child and goes over the details on how they were brutally tortured and murdered and think to yourself, this is good content. This content's a fucking banger. This is going on Patreon right now. I'm gonna get fucking paid for this shit. Let's go. Then you're a bad person. That's the kind of person you are. You are an evil piece of shit person is what you are. This isn't like some kind of debatable position. This isn't a hot take for me. I don't know how she even thinks that there is a large number of people that think like her where, oh, we actually just look at photos of dead, murdered children in a scientific, analytical way as we could learn from this. Like, oh, look at that. Stabbed 1,000 times. This is very interesting. I'm giving that an updoot. And here's $5. Thanks for showing me this. That's not common. She literally dropped a, "I'm sorry you feel that way," over this whole situation in her community tab, I guess. That blows my mind.
We are so grateful to have the opportunity to join together today with our friends, family, and community in Kylie's name. Though we gather together, grief and healing is such a personal and individual thing. Today we will honor Kylie in honoring each other and holding each other up as we grieve in our own ways. We'll laugh, dance, share stories, songs, and poetry, or maybe we'll cry in a corner or at the podium. It's all okay. We'll remember and we'll create new memories as we all learn how to move forward in a world where we miss her. We are so blessed to be able to miss her together and to walk together into tomorrow. The way that she has brought everyone together, even in death, is a legacy that I will cherish forever. I'm hearing stories about people wanting to be nicer to each other in her memory. Kylie's dear friend recently told her mom that before all of this happened, she thought the word community had no real meaning, that it didn't really exist. But after Kylie went missing, the way our community showed up in full force showed her that it in fact is so very real and so powerful. That kind of impact on our teens gives me hope, the demonstration of strength and togetherness, and the way that they have an army of supporters standing behind them will carry them far as they enter adulthood. We would like to thank everyone who has come together to support us in what we hope will be the most difficult time of our lives. There's no way that we'll be able to ever return the kindness, generosity, and compassion that has been extended to us over the last month, but we will live the rest of our lives trying, and in that trying, Kylie will be with us, reminding us to be kind, laugh, and sing, and that sometimes it's even okay to cry. In closing, I want to thank our media friends for respecting our request to give us privacy while we celebrate my daughter today. Unfortunately, the social media frenzy has become such a monster that our teens are suffering, and we want to create a safe space for them to heal together without fear of something being taken out of context. To anyone who gains pleasure or satisfaction from commenting online, I ask you to take a moment to look inward and to try to recognize your motive. Remember the three gates that all words should flow through. Is it kind? Is it true? Is it helpful? I implore you to remember that there is honor in silence and there is kindness in minding your own business. You are talking about the death of my child, our community's child. It's time to let our children mourn their friend quietly, peacefully. I hope you can find other, more beautiful and helpful ways to spend your time and remember Kylie. Call your mom, take a walk, pick up a new hobby. Please know we got this. Let her rest.